We are live. Never done this before. Let's see how it goes. Today, we're going to talk about the ideal client profile, the very first thing we need to do to start speaking to a specific person and helping them with a specific problem. So I have this bot that I created, and we're going to go through it and create an ideal client profile for a personal injury attorney client, meaning their clients, the injured person. All right, let me share my screen here and get right into it. All right. Okay, so here we have our ideal buyer bot. You can have access to this bot at the end of the call. I'll link it down below. And the first thing we do is go right into to answering these questions. So welcome to the ideal buyer bot. This isn't just an ideal avatar creator. It's a powerful research tool to supercharge your AI copy and content creation. So this is awesome. It creates a real detailed profile of your ideal client. It will find things about your market they don't even know about themselves. If you read the outputs to them, they would think you have a camera in their head. To use it, all you have to do is enter a brief statement about who your target market is. So we'll say, my target market is someone who's been injured in an accident recently. We are a personal injury law firm in South Carolina that gets our clients maximum compensation for their injuries so they can fully recover and get back to their everyday lives. Target market is someone who... All right, let's see what it comes up with. All right, so obviously you want to read this and make sure that it's accurate before you start, before you use it. You're going to use it pretty much everywhere that you create content. I'm going to show you how I would use it today, just because we're going to be having a personal injury attorney on a podcast. And I want to ask questions that would pertain to their ideal client. So we're going to be using this ICP or ideal client profile with them, but I want to use it to come up with the questions that we're going to ask that attorney on the podcast. So I'll analyze your target market of accident injury victims in South Carolina. Let me create a comprehensive buyer persona based on the information that you've provided. So demographic, Alex Reeves, likely prospects, age range 26 to 65, primary segments 30 to 45, working professionals. Brief description, South Carolina residents who have recently suffered injuries and accidents, car crashes, workplace incidents, slip and falls, etc., and are dealing with physical pain, mounting medical bills, lost wages, and insurance company pressure while trying to recover and maintain their normal life responsibilities. Core problems. I won't do this line by line because you can see it's pretty extensive, but I'll go over the main points here just to see if we spot anything that's like super spot on or doesn't hit the mark, so we can ask it to change it. The core problem the prospect faces is being physically injured, financially strained, and emotionally overwhelmed while trying to navigate the complex legal system and insurance claims process without proper support or knowledge of their rights. Symptoms of the problem: persistent physical pain and limited mobility, mounting medical bills with no end in sight, lost wages due to inability to work, anxiety about future health complications, confusion about legal rights and insurance processes, pressure from insurance adjusters pushing for quick minimal settlements, difficulty focusing on recovery while managing paperwork and communications, fear of making mistakes that could jeopardize their financial future, uncertainty about timeframes and what constitutes fair compensation, emotional impact of the problem, overwhelming stress, feeling of helplessness, frustration at being victimized twice, first by the accident, then by the system. That's amazing, because one of our longest clients, the oldest clients that we have, is about, we've had them for 12 years. We've been together, working together. And their motto is don't be a victim twice, first by the accident, then by the system. Guilt about burdening family members with responsibilities, fear that life will never return to normal. I hope you can see how your content can now take on a much more personal level than just some basic AI content or answering some of their maybe frequently asked questions. Now that you have this information, I think it's pretty spot on so far. Depression from physical limitations and pain, self-doubt about their ability. Okay, social impact of the problem: inability to participate in family activities and responsibilities, missing work and feeling pressure from employers, canceling social engagements and becoming isolated, financial pressure affecting household dynamics, loss of identity as the provider or caretaker in the family. 5 conversational but hurtful things those relationships might say. Their spouse, let's see if this is accurate. Their spouse: I know you're in pain, but I'm exhausted from picking up all the slack. How much longer is this going to go on? Oof. Boss: we need someone reliable. I don't know how long we can hold your position if this drags on. A friend: just take whatever settlement they offer and move on with your life. Is it really worth all of this stress? Parent: maybe you should have been more careful in the first place. You always did drive too fast. Oh my God. Child: why can't you come to my game? You promised you'd be there. All the other parents show up. Wow. Motivational triggers: receiving a lowball settlement offer that doesn't begin to cover their expenses. Discovering hidden injuries that will require long-term care. Being denied coverage for necessary treatments by insurance. Realizing they can't return to work as quickly as they'd hoped. Hitting a financial breaking point when bills become overwhelming. Experience disrespectful or dismissive treatment. Hearing about someone else's negative experience from settling too quickly. Missing an important family event due to their injuries. Learning about permanent disability or long-term limitations. Future cost of unresolved problems. Potential bankruptcy or severe financial hardship. Long-term or permanent physical disabilities without proper treatment. Care limitations or job loss. Chronic pain becoming a permanent fixture in life. Loss of home or assets. Diminished quality of life for years to come. Social impact of unresolved problems: permanently altered family dynamics with increased dependence on others, potential divorce or separation, loss of career advancement, reduced social circles, isolation becomes the norm, strained relationship with children who don't understand the limitations, community standing affected by financial instability. If a genie could snap their fingers and solve this problem immediately, what would our prospects' lives look like? They would have complete physical recovery with proper medical care fully paid for. They'd have compensation for all lost wages plus future earnings if their capacity is affected, their work capacity. Their financial security would be restored with all accident-related debts eliminated. They would have the resources to adapt their home vehicle if needed for permanent limitations, and they'd feel vindicted that justice was served with the responsible party held accountable. Most importantly, they could focus entirely on healing without legal or financial worries, knowing their family future is secure. I think this is, what do you think? I think this is pretty good, pretty spot on. Is there anything that you would change about this, or anything that like kind of misses the mark with your ideal client? How would this transformation affect different key relationships in our prospects' lives? Spouse: partnership would be restored as financial pressures ease and the injured person regains independence. Children: Parent can return to active involvement in their lives and activities. Employer, confidence restored with clear timeline for return or proper disability arrangements. Extended family, relief from caregiver burden and return to normal relationships. Friends, ability to socialize and participate in activities, again without limitations. Healthcare provider, shift from crisis management to positive recovery relationship. Let me see how much. I think this is about halfway. Specific post-transformation sound bites. Let's see what else is down here. Yeah, so far so let's keep going though. I want to see if there's anything here that doesn't hit the mark. And I just really want to see how good of a job this thing did in preparing this ICP or ideal client profile. Specific post-transformation sound bites. For the first time since the accident, I slept through the night without worrying about how we'll pay the mortgage. I finally felt like myself again when I could pick up my daughter without pain. Knowing all my medical needs will be covered for life gives me peace I never thought I'd have again. My husband said he got his partner back, not just physically, but mentally, because I'm not consumed with stress anymore. I didn't have to choose between physical therapy and paying the electrical bill. Other solutions, what our prospects tried in the past, list 5 different solutions. This is what I question here, like how good this is, because personal injury is usually a pretty quick time frame, a pretty short time frame. Let's take a look. Number 1, handling the insurance claim themselves directly with the insurance company. I should probably say I'm not an attorney. Obviously, I'm working for attorneys to help them grow their law firms, not providing legal advice in any way. Accepting the first settlement offer to get quick money for immediate bills, using a general practice attorney who doesn't specialize in personal injury, borrowing money from family members or taking out loans to cover expenses. That one's probably very accurate. Cutting corners on medical treatment to save money, also probably very accurate. Conversational sound bites about past failures or failed past solutions. I thought I could handle the insurance company myself, but they kept giving me the runaround until I was desperate enough to take whatever they offered. My brother-in-law's buddy is a lawyer who does wills and divorces. He tried to help, but was completely out of his depth with the insurance adjusters. We put everything on credit cards just to survive, and now we're drowning in interest payments on top of everything else. I skipped physical therapy sessions to save money, and now the doctor says my injury healed incorrectly and might need surgery. The settlement seemed like a lot of money until I realized it wouldn't even cover half of my existing medical bills, let alone future care. Popular solutions in the market right now: large national law firms with heavy TV advertising but impersonal service. Settlement loan companies that advance money at extremely high interest rates. Settlement mill firms that process high volumes of cases with minimal client interaction. Online do-it-yourself legal advice and document preparation services. This is becoming more and more prevalent and available with AI. Insurance company victim advocates who actually work for the insurer. Okay, biggest objections to these solutions. Those big TV firms just seem to want quick settlements. You're just a number to them. Settlement loans would leave me with almost nothing after their interest rates. My friend used one of those high volume firms and barely even spoke to an actual attorney. So you can see these objections are valid, that you're going to want to handle ahead of time and in your marketing to have people trust you and engage with you. Online advice is confusing and contradictory. Every case seems different. The advocate the insurance company provided seems nice, but kept pushing me to accept less than I deserve. The ideal solution, what our prospects don't want to do to fix their problem: spend years in litigation without income. Navigate complex legal paperwork and deadlines while in pain. Constantly battle insurance companies alone. Make decisions about settlement offers without expert guidance. Pay upfront legal fees when they're already financially strained. That one's kind of irrelevant, since most personal injury attorneys offer a contingency fee where the person doesn't pay unless they're successful in the end. which is not a complete offer, by the way. If you look at Alex Hormozi's irresistible offer formula, that is not a complete or irresistible offer. It does take out some of the risk, but not all of the risk. And we're going to be going into that in the future with another bot that I created that that analyzes offers based on that Alex Hormozi irresistible offer formula. I think that's going to be pretty useful for you. Become a legal expert overnight. They don't want to do these. Deal with constant stress while trying to heal. All right, brief conversational sound bites about what they don't want to do. I can barely get through the day with this pain, let alone fight with insurance adjusters. Every time the phone rings, it's them. My chest tightens up and I feel sick. I'm not looking to get rich. I just want what's fair so I can put this nightmare behind me. How am I supposed to know if their offer is reasonable? This is all new to me. I don't have thousands for a lawyer up front when I can't even pay my rent this month. I kind of figured that most of these people would know that personal injury attorneys work on a contingency fee basis. Is that not the case everywhere? But maybe they don't know that, and we just have to do a better job of teaching and educating these people. All right, primary transformation from Frodo. From a vulnerable, overwhelmed accident victim being taken advantage of by insurance companies while physically suffering and financially drowning, to a protected client with expert advocates handling all legal and insurance matters, receiving proper medical care and having financial security while focusing solely on recovery and returning to normal life. Market specifics. What does the market hinge their success on? Getting fair compensation that truly covers all their needs, but fair is subjective and emotionally loaded. It represents validation that their suffering matters and acknowledgement that what happened to them was wrong. Success also hinges on returning to their pre-accident life and identity as much as possible, particularly their role in the family as provider and caretaker. I think that's a pretty powerful one there. What does the market have to give up by giving up their problem? This gets into the psyche of the prospect. Some clients unconsciously resist resolving their case because the victim identity provides certain secondary benefits. Wow. I mean, they probably don't want to face this, but this is good for you to know. And it makes sense. Sympathy from others, release from normal responsibilities, or justification for other life problems. Some fear that once compensated, family members will accept them to be fixed immediately. Others worry about the judgment of appearing greedy if they seek substantial compensation. This one I think is pretty, this one's probably very valid and common, especially in South Carolina culture that values stoicism and self-reliance. So this one's specific to South Carolina, which is interesting. That's the first mention of something states or location specific. Who does the market blame for their problem? The at-fault party, drunk driver, negligent business owner, etc. Insurance companies that delay and deny legitimate claims, an unfair system that protects corporations over individuals, employers who pressure them to return before they're ready, their own lack of knowledge about legal rights and processes, medical providers who don't fully document their injuries, sometimes themselves for not being more careful or prepared. And what are the top 5 biggest objections the market might have for their problem? This will conclude the ICP. I don't want to seem like I'm just after money or taking advantage of the situation. Lawyers are expensive and I can't afford to pay anything up front right now. So that's number 2 in terms of biggest objections. Interesting. This will probably drag on forever and I just want to move on with my life. So as you can see, they're also pressured to take a lower settlement early. So if the goal is to maximize compensation, this is contradictory to that because your clients are wanting a quick resolution. So this right here might be something that we put in our offer to relieve pressure so that they can go the long haul and we can get as much money out of the settlement, out of the insurance policy as we can. I've heard horror stories about personal injury cases that ended up with the victim getting almost nothing. And I'm not the kind of person who sues people. It feels uncomfortable and aggressive. Again, a lot of this stuff is going to help when we come up with a more irresistible offer than just saying it's a contingency offer, pay nothing unless unless we win. And I hope you're starting to see that the contingency offer is only part of a valid and irresistible offer. It doesn't really solve everything here for sure. So what did you think about this? Is there anything here that you thought could have been improved? And once you get access to this bot, you can go in here and say, I like this, but not this. I think we need to focus more on this. And I don't think this is very valid. And then give me the entire thing again to make sure that it gives you it over again. And what I'm going to do now is, well, first of all, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And then I'm going to put this into a document, a Google Doc, so that we have it for future use. So basically save it in a Google Doc, export it as a PDF. And then with any marketing that we create with an AI tool, we could always just upload it, and we will be uploading it to those subsequent AI tools so that I could create content specifically for our ideal client, which is an injured victim, in this case in South Carolina. Okay, I'm going to put the bot, the Poe bot. We build all of our bots in Poe, P-O-E, because you can choose any model in there. You can choose Claude. This one uses Claude, but you can change it at any time. So if one model goes down or updates and the new version is not working as well, you could easily change it in Poe. Some models, Claude, ChatGPT, do better for some things, but not others. So I like the flexibility of Poe. I highly recommend getting an account and being able to use these bots that I'm going to be sharing with you and using throughout these live episodes. So now that we have this, exciting, now that we have the ICP, the ideal client profile, we're going to be using it for a bunch of stuff. Next up, we're going to start creating content with this. Let me put it in a doc and then actually ask. Let me see if I can ask it a few questions right in this Poe bot and see what it comes up with in terms of questions to ask a personal injury attorney that would be valuable. Hold on one second. Let's go right back to the screen. Okay. Here are other things that you might want to get into: the nightmare day and the journal entry. It could just elaborate on some things for you. But what I want to ask it is, I am hosting a podcast where I interview a personal injury attorney from South Carolina. What are some questions that I could ask that would be valuable for this ideal client that we just described? By the way, whisper flow is for that speech to text, so it's a lot quicker than typing. Highly recommend that too. All right, let's see what they come up with. So, based on powerful podcast questions for a South Carolina personal injury attorney. Also, you could just take these and answer them yourself on video, clip them, and you can share them on social media. I think that's a great thing to do so that your ideal clients find value. Understanding the client experience. Many accident victims feel overwhelmed within days of their injury, insurance calls, medical appointments, missed work. What's the first thing someone should do after seeking medical attention? Number 2, our listeners who've been in accidents report getting settlement offers within days. So I'm probably going to change this up just a little bit because those are not our main listeners. So people who've been in an accident report getting settlement offers within days, sometimes while still in the hospital. What's really happening behind the scenes when insurers rush these offers? When someone is lying awake at 2 a.m. worrying about medical bills after an accident, what do you wish they knew about their rights in South Carolina specifically? Wow. Can you just see how the answers to these would be really valuable to this ICP that we described? Financial concerns and reality checks. How does South Carolina's comparative negligence law affect compensation right when someone might be partially at fault for their accident? Many listeners worry about seeming greedy by pursuing full compensation. How do you help clients understand the true lifetime cost of their injuries beyond immediate medical bills? Number 6, what's the reality of how personal injury attorneys get paid? Many accident victims worry they can't afford legal help when they're already struggling financially. I might also follow up just to see. I might ask before the podcast, not to put the attorney on the spot, but are there any good ways of relieving some of that pressure beforehand, like paying their medical bills or offering pre-settlement funding that won't break the bank, that's not like super high usurpus, I think is the word, interest rates. Psychological and emotional aspects. How do you help clients manage the pressure from family members who say things like, just take what they're offering so we can move on, when that might not be in their best interest? So this is interesting. How do you deal with family members? So you can start to see how we're helping them from a 360 perspective, not just, hey, we're going to get you the most money, but we're also helping you answer questions around like what you're facing on a day-to-day basis with your family. Many accident victims describe feeling like they've lost their identity, especially when they can't work or participate in family activities. How does proper legal representation help with these emotional aspects? 9, what's your advice for clients struggling with the guilt of having others pick up their responsibilities during recovery? I mean, some of these I'm probably going to send these questions to the attorney beforehand so he's ready and he can pick the ones that he wants to talk about, he feels most comfortable talking about. And also, this is not going to be the majority or all of the podcast. We're gonna get into kind of a personal side of things with a personal injury attorney. So I want to make sure that we ask him maybe the top 5 questions, take up about 15 minutes of the 30-minute podcast here. Many accident victims describe feeling like they've lost their identity, especially when they can't work or participate in family activities. How does your proper legal representation help with these emotional aspects? What's your advice for, I think we already went through some of this. Yeah. 10, what are the 3 biggest mistakes you see accident victims in South Carolina make that damage their cases before they even speak to an attorney? How should someone evaluate whether an attorney is the right fit for their specific case? What questions should they ask before hiring? When a client is faced with choosing between ongoing medical treatment and returning to work due to financial pressure, what guidance do you offer? Long-term considerations. How does South Carolina law address future complications from injuries that might not be immediately apparent? For listeners whose injuries might affect their ability to return to their previous career, how do you ensure their settlement accounts for this life-changing impact? What's the most meaningful transformation you've seen in a client's life after receiving proper compensation for their injuries? This is awesome because you start to talk about outcomes and you start to have your prospect see themselves in these success stories, in these people's shoes. These questions will help your podcast deliver genuine value while addressing the deep emotional, financial, and practical concerns that keep your ideal clients awake. So I hope this was helpful. This is the first thing we did with this ICP document. And already we're getting a bunch of topics that we can create short form content around. And really it's all about time on brand. How much time can these people spend with you even before they contact your firm? If the first interaction with you is going to be on a free consultation, which we'll talk about in the future as well. But if the first time they call you is the first time they're really hearing you or your point of view or anything about you, that free consultation is going to have to do all of the heavy lifting to have this person know, like, and trust you in order for them to move forward with you and your law firm. So this stuff creates the content beforehand, gives them a no pressure way of getting to know you beforehand. And I what I call it or refer to it as time on brand. I've heard that somewhere. I think it's awesome that people need to spend 2 hours with you, with your content before they feel comfortable calling or trusting you. So that's where this comes in, or at least where it starts to fill that content gap. All right. So now we have the ICP. We have a couple of questions that we're going to ask our attorney friend on the podcast. And the next video is going to be somewhat on probably on offer creation or content creation using this ICP. All right, guys, this has been Nick Ringus. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, by all means, put them in the comments. And don't forget, I'm going to link the bot that I used today so that you can use it on your own for free. I think you can use it once or so with a free Poe account, but after that, they're going to make you buy some credits. I think it's $20 a month, but you have that in the description for your own use as well. All right, guys, thanks for watching.